And I am ironically wearing a red plaid shirt. It doesn't mean anything. It's my shirt. I own it. Before anyone starts saying that it's Vin's.
And yeah, she knows people might read into that too much. And hello, I'm People. Happy weekend, everybody. Here to talk about some Big Brother gossip. It was a gossipy last 24 hours. We had Morgan finally doing a deep dive into her game. We had Kelsey speaking out for really the first time on social media in a video where things were concerned with Big Brother 27. And Ashley had a little entertaining live too. Although this still will be gossipy, I actually have some things I want to analyze today as well because of Morgan's deep dive. I will say, not that I watched the entire deep dive. Who has the time to watch two people yap for over 7 hours? Not I, but I did skip around and I found some things that I do want to comment on. I want to start with Kelsey, though. She did post a video on social media because she went from private to public on Instagram a couple days ago and already had 1 million views on her on her profile, I guess is what she said, which is crazy.
In all honesty, I did not think anyone would care that Vinny had a girlfriend. I guess we were both naive in that experience.
And so I think a lot of this video from Kelsey, it was short, it was only a few minutes long, but she wanted to say that this is all very new for her. She's a private person. And I understand this from her because she's not the one that signed up for this show. Her stupid boyfriend decided to go on the show and have zero boundaries with another woman. And it's brought her into the spotlight against her will, kind of. And first off, I like that she started the video by clocking how people go a little crazy analyzing everything because she was wearing red plaid in the shirt and she had to tell us that was not Vince's shirt that she's wearing.
And I am ironically wearing a red plaid shirt. It doesn't mean anything. It's my shirt. I own it. It's mine. Before anyone starts saying that it's Vin's.
And yeah, she knows people might read into that too much. And hello, I'm People. Although I just do it for shits and giggles. I really do have fun just coming on here and talking shit when I can. And what better people to talk about than people from Big Brother? But yeah, obviously the backlash from Vince was hard on her because she is a private person and she's not the one that signed up for the game. Now, the video overall was vague. I think it was just her trying to tell us that there's a lot of views on her profile right now. And this is new for her. She doesn't really know what to say. She kept talks about Vince or the situation very vague. It's like her and Vince are almost the same person when it comes to being vague about what's going on with their relationship and where they actually stand. I got the sense, though, to overanalyze her comment about us possibly overanalyzing her red plaid shirt. Her mentioning that would make one think, or her having to mention that would make one think she's not with Vince. But that's just some overanalyzing gossip for you for the first subject. I'm glad Kelsey was able to speak her mind, though, and give us a little bit of her point of view, because the situation has been very unfair to her overall. Moving on to Morgan's long-ass deep dive. Like I said, I just skimmed some of it to see what she was saying about her game and about some of the other players. I'm pretty over the actual game aspect of Big Brother 27. I talked about it to death during the season while watching live feeds, and frankly, my assessments were pretty damn spot on overall. So I think I analyzed the game well when it was actually happening, and now I just want to have fun just reading too much into these people's problems with each other. The positive thing I found from Morgan's deep dive was that she was quite the gamer and like a game bot almost, but kind of in a good way. Usually I don't like game bots, but I did like Morgan's game. She was a game bot in the right ways in that she was focusing a lot on the on the game moves people were making in the game, and not some like personal reasons to go after players. A lot of people were going after Ashley for personal reasons in the game, and Morgan never got involved in that, which I do respect. I respect that her gamebot ways were like logical moves. She always did think about the logical game moves, and I think that is really respectable. I like that she mentioned that she noticed the tell that when Vince was lying, it was certain smiles Vince was making. So, I mean, I would hope she would have learned Vince's tell with all the time they spent together, especially in the last month of the game. I will say something I saw throughout skimming the deep dive was her still defending Vince a lot. And her defense of Vince still makes me question her gripes with Jimmy. Because she defends Vince so much, even though he is the reason that her name got so soured throughout the season, because, you know, it looked like she was being involved with someone who's in a relationship on the outside of the game. She had this major flirtmance with Vince, and the reason her and Vince's name got soured throughout the season, and now even after the season, is because Vince was in a relationship. And yet she will defend the hell out of Vince all the time. But she's mad at Jimmy for commenting on the situation with Morgan and Vince, and just Jimmy being bitter with Morgan after he got eliminated from the season. I don't think it's fair, although I still talked about a few days ago when I talked about Jimmy speaking out against Morgan not talking to him. I just feel like she doesn't care to mend that relationship. And as somebody in the comments said, it's because maybe Jimmy can't do anything for her anymore outside of the game. He's just a pre-juror. And Morgan is very good at getting eyes on her and like promoting her brand now. It seems to be what she's about altogether, which is fine. I mean, I think she's good at it, like I said. But when it comes to the Morgan and Jimmy spat, I'm solidly team Jimmy now. When the season first ended and Morgan first unfollowed Jimmy, Jimmy was doing too much in very Jimmy style. And I feel like he jumped down her throat too much, trying to bring up the gay asp thing and not giving her time to process some of the shit talking Jimmy might have done on social media when he was out of the season and she was still on the season. But she's gotten that time now, and apparently still not reaching out. And I think that Jimmy has some logical reasons to be upset by that. And frankly, Morgan lied during the deep dive when it came to Jimmy's elimination week. Morgan tried to say that she really wanted Kat out that week on Mickey's secret HOH, and that's a lie. Morgan was the main person pushing for Jimmy to go on the block that week and go out the door. Mickey got on board with that so hard because of Morgan's pushing to get Jimmy out the door. Morgan tried to throw Mickey under the bus in this deep dive for Jimmy's elimination, and I don't think that was completely fair. Like, yeah, Mickey had to make that final decision. She was HOH, and Mickey was a big, stupid part of Jimmy going home on her HOH. But it's because Morgan was so pushy. The only time Morgan pushed for Kat to go up on the block that week was when Mickey suggested maybe we put Vince up instead of Jimmy. That's when Morgan had a breakdown that night, really had to push back on Mickey to keep her on the same wavelength of putting up either Jimmy or Kat. That's the only time that entire week that Morgan seemed to want Kat to go home. So that was some bullshit in Morgan's deep dive video. She lied in that case. And it kind of further proves the point that the beef with Jimmy is more Morgan's fault than Jimmy's. Like, the game relation of what happened in the game, like, Morgan should be able to understand why Jimmy was bitter against Mickey and Morgan, but he was able to talk things out with Mickey, and he thinks he could be able to talk things out with Morgan, but she is refusing to do that. And it's whatever. I mean, I don't really care about their relationship, but I'm saying that if they're going to keep talking about it, I'm Team Jimmy. I'm also going to need the first month of Morgan's game to stop being rewritten. her being male-centered with Zach and Vince was bad for her game. And it almost eventually got her out next to Riley that time when they were on the block together. Morgan had a great second half of the game, but the first half had a lot of rough spots, and it's being rewritten that Morgan was just this overall great player throughout the whole game, and that's not completely true. And that brings me to the last thing I want to discuss. How much I am over the Mint stands, the Morgan and Vince stands who are now just trying to criticize everything Ashley says or posts. I started as a Morgan and Vince stan hater during the feeds, but I did eventually succumb to the human chemistry between Vince and Morgan. However, it's almost impossible for me to become a stan of a couple. Just standing in general, I don't love it. Even Love Island's Nicolandria, I'll defend them a lot because their haters are usually racist, but I wouldn't say I'm a stan of theirs. These Vince and Morgan stans are, I think, so rabid because they haven't gotten closure to Morgan and Vince after this season, and they want to take it out on Ashley like they have to defend Morgan and Vince at every point. And that's not true. Ashley did a post on Twitter that was just hyping up the final three of Big Brother 27 to give them the credit they deserve. And everyone jumps on Ashley because either Morgan stans think Morgan would have won if she would have made the end, which Ashley has since admitted that's probably true. And they're mad at Ashley because as soon as Ashley won the game, she made that post on Instagram talking shit about Vince, as if she shouldn't have done that when she knows Vince talked shit about her the entire game. Like, come on. Ashley had the right to talk some shit about Vince after winning the game because all he did was talk shit about her game. At the end of the day, I think Ashley is just too real for people, and it's why I respect her so much. Keanu fans will go into her lives and still try to make her feel bad for calling Keanu annoying, as if he wasn't, and she will stand her ground on that.
Y'all were mean when Keanu was going out saying he was annoying. Do you regret it? He was annoying. I still like the kid. Y'all, I'm honest. I think Keanu is a great person. Was he annoying? Yes.
I respect the realness, the bluntness of Sagittarius Ashley. I do. And I just respect people who keep it real and are logical, which is an important distinction from someone who just tries to keep it real. I like when people keep it real with actual logic. And I think that Ashley does that very well, while also being entertaining on her lives when she is answering questions and answering them truthfully. Ashley said in her live, her last live, that she loved Morgan's game as well, but she was answering a question about who played the best game from her season. And Ashley's answer was probably Rachel, which is a very fair answer because Rachel was eating those newbies up. They were afraid to make moves against Rachel. She got into a point in the game to make it to jury without ever being on the block as a returning player. She was playing a good game just from that stat alone. So I think Ashley's answer was fair, but then people want to possibly criticize her for not saying Morgan played the best game. Ashley was even being humble when answering that question in not saying herself as playing the best game. She was actually giving praise to a lot of different people's games, or at least the aspect of their games that they were good at. She still said she would probably put herself in the top 5, which, I mean, yeah, I think Ashley top 3 for sure as a player from this past season.
Yes, I think Morgan played a great game, by the way. Like, I think Morgan played a great game. I wouldn't say she was like an Xavier or a Chelsea.
But I'm glad Ashley had to clarify, in case the Morgan and Vince stands were to try and come for her, that her answer being Rachel was not her coming for Morgan. She hyped up Morgan's game as well. So hopefully Morgan and Vince stands will stop trying to cause problems for Ashley and Morgan. And overall, hopefully Kelsey can move on with her life when it comes to this whole Big Brother 27 fiasco, thanks to Vince. And I don't know where the Jimmy Morgan beef will go. I don't know if they'll ever have that conversation. I would like to think at some point they're going to have that conversation. They're going to be at some event some reality show event where they're both there, and hopefully they'll talk before that event happens so they're not awkward at said event.